Hi everyone, my name is Scott Morris. I am the board game guy at GTS. I've been told by several of you that just needs to be my title as the board game guy. So we are here with another one of our retailer to publisher webinars. I'm really excited about this one. So Nate Murray, who is a longtime friend in the industry, is here from a company called 3rd World Studios. We're going to be talking about a couple of games that we have just recently put into distribution with them. These are about to be ordered right now, so it's perfect timing if you're watching this live or if you're watching it on YouTube. We're going to talk about Charmed and Dangerous, which is a new princess RPG card game, kind of reimagining the stuff that you know from familiar surroundings. And we'll probably talk a little bit more about the company and a little bit more about Nate and things like that. But Nate is the leader of sales and marketing for 3rd World Studios. They have a lot of different things in the motion right now. They're working on some puzzles, they're working on some different games and things like that. And as always, GTS is constantly looking for new partners that can provide value for you guys as retailers in your stores and products that can help you sell and grow your market space as well. So as always, I like to remind everybody, everything is on the table. Any kind of question you'd like to ask, you are welcome to. To do that, it's really easy. You just hover over your mouse window on your Zoom video. There's a little chat button. You can open up a chat panel and send a message to all attendees or all panelists and all attendees. The panelists are just myself and Nate, and then attendees, of course, are all the retailers. But Nate, you don't have to worry about messing around with that. I will dig into that, and as questions pop up, I will let you know. Every once in a while, there's one or two retailers that ping me through Facebook because we know each other there, so I may grab a question or two from there and let you know as we go along. But I don't want to steal too much of your thunder, so I will let my face that was made for radio be quiet. I will let you take over and start presenting about all the good stuff you have to share with everybody.
Excellent. Thanks so much for the intro. Nice to see all of you. And so, yeah, I'm here representing 3rd World Studios. Personally, I've been around the industry a long time, and I connected with 3rd World years ago when they did their first game, Arcane Academy, with IDW. So I helped them shepherd that product in. And Arcane Academy was a lovely little tableau building tile layer by Kevin Wilson and Eric Lang. That game is going to be refreshed now that the partnership with IDW has ended with 3rd World. They're going to be launching that on their own in 2021. It's a really great 2 to 4 player game, and I definitely urge you to follow the company and check that out. 3rd World is a great mix of, board game, card game, and graphic novel, and they do have a great lineup coming up. But yeah, I think the one we're coming together to talk about today is Charmed and Dangerous, which is the full name is Charmed and Dangerous: The Sisters Grimm. So it's a co-op game for 1 to 4 players. Excellent solo mode on this thing. And in the game, you are a fairy tale princess turned adventurer, and you are going into the forest and exploring in hopes of defeating an evil villain. So the game is a very small footprint, but it has a lot of replayability in that there's a mix of villains in the box. Those villains affect the henchman deck, and meaning that at setup time you can kind of customize out based off what heroes you're bringing in. They have asymmetrical powers, so what heroes you're going to bring in through the forest, you can kind of trick that all out. So really great co-op entry-level game. A lot of fun for if you're looking for strong female protagonists. The artwork's great, and it's kind of a new twist on the genre that I haven't really seen done like this in a light co-op space.
And the pricing is only $24.99 for the base game and $14.99 for the first expansion, which, given the time frame of everything right now, between everything going on with COVID, everything going on with pricing and holidays and stuff like that, that's a very good price point for right now.
Yeah, absolutely. To get into this system, it's very affordable, a great stocking stuffer gift, and we're really proud of that.
And Nate, I forgot to ask you, did you have any kind of presentation or any kind of documents you wanted to share with anybody via screen share or anything like that?
This is my first time doing one of these with you all, and I did not know that I was supposed to come with homework, so I'll
No,
apologize
that's
for
okay.
that.
No worries,
But
no worries. So I did put into chat, just so everyone knows, I put in the SKUs for Charmed and Dangerous, Sisters Grimm, and for Fairest in the Land as well. It's definitely good to know that this is the first time this is really being available in hobby distribution.
Yeah.
And you correct me if I say anything wrong there, Nate, but this is kind of a first-time shot for everybody. We are literally, as we speak, we're actually placing orders tomorrow with Third World Studios. So this is perfect timing for anyone that may or may not have seen the product before to hop on and be able to get the product in. It is going to be a release upon receipt product. So once it lands with us, we'll get it out to retailers, and then you guys can merchandise it and put it on your shelves and things like that. What I'm going to do real quick, Nate, if it's okay with you, I'm going to open up my screen share on my system, and I am actually going to go to the BGG page real quick.
Sure.
And I hope everyone can see it here real quick. But just to give you guys an idea of kind of the artwork behind the game and a little bit, and you're welcome to jump in and say anything you would like as I flip through these here, Nate, but I just want to make sure everyone can kind of see the style and the look of everything here.
Yeah, so those are the 4 hero cards included in the base set. So reimagining of Dorothy, Snow White, Gretel, and I get that 4th character's name wrong, but she has a lovely power. But a good representation, good mix of all that, and a really bright, colorful art style that's really resonated with players and fans so far. Those are the 4 villain characters included in the base as well. So again, a mix of kind of familiar faces and some different fairy tales. So they pulled a really cool universe for this IP, kind of a dark Disney feel to the whole package. For me, something that Third World does very well is product layout and design. If they have the actual cards up there, you can see that everything's real cleanly designed, really easy to access, not too busy. And I find that for the type of game this is, that works really well. So I'm excited about that. And yeah, as you mentioned, this is the first foray really into retail for Third World on our own. We are at this point exclusive with you guys, and have been really grateful for the treatment we've received and the shepherding to get these games into market before the holiday season.
And when you're saying fully co-op, this is something that someone could play solo on their own, correct?
Yeah, this is great solo, absolutely. I would recommend, if you're gonna play solo, that you do take 2 heroes into the forest with you, and that's because each hero has a starting couple of, there's 4 statistics in the games that you're kind of balancing to take on the end threat. So in order to defeat the main villain of any mission, you need to amass your 4 stats to certain really high levels. And any one character that starts into the dungeon or into the forest only starts with 2 of the 4 base sets. So you're going to want to take a couple of heroes with you. It is open information. There's no hidden information. It's complete. So you can easily solo. The rules are in there, written as such. And it's a pleasing solo experience, absolutely.
So someone just shot me a message on Facebook. In terms of age groups, what kind of age group is this targeting?
In terms of age group, I mean, I think we have it listed at probably 10 plus. There's been no issues on our end with, the subject matter is fairy tales with a bit of scariness, but there's not anything that prevents or scares kids off from the topic. And then the math,
not as scary as the original Grimm fairy tales.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's about as scary as the English translations, not the German, right? So, and then math wise, it's addition, subtraction. There's no multiplication or anything like that. So very kid friendly, very family friendly.
This artwork is phenomenal. This like barbarian with like giant candy cane swords. Everything is
absolutely. And I love the colors and everything too. So it's got a great table presence. Again, for a $25 game, you get out you build a big grid of cards on the table space. You've got your hero here. So it's a nice product really. And then it's not a huge footprint on your shelf either. I know that right now with things as they are, a box with a bunch of air might not be the best thing to bring in, but this would go up right nice next to the cash register, really.
There have been a lot of what I call potato chip games this year where, you get a box that, is that $25, $30, $35 price box and you open it up and it's like half empty. So that's been an interesting dynamic. So it's good to see things that are tightly packed and easy to merchandise, which is good.
Yeah.
Derek had a really good question, and I think I know the answer to this, but I'll let you answer this one, Nate. How and where has it been released already outside of hobby distribution?
It had a Kickstarter, and that would be it.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah,
So we're
that's
not talking mass. We're not talking like Target or anything like that.
no, nothing like that. Third World is a small studio of a team of really talented people who work in entertainment, and they've been able to make beautiful product and kickstart occasionally, but they haven't really done a big effort on reaching out to retailers, and that's what I'm hoping to do. So,
Excellent.
I'd love to hear from anyone who has more questions about the company. There are a couple other great games that we're designing and bringing to market to go straight to retail, to not there'll be a mix. They'll have a couple Kickstarter things, but they do want to get into the retail shelves. And so I'm happy to talk with anybody. But that's what I'm here for. And so these games have really done nothing. And I think even with Arcane Academy and the demand there and what that game was, to bring it back with a really good focus toward keeping it on game shelves is really going to be the goal of 2021.
Yeah, and I think, one of the reasons that GTS took a good hard look at 3rd World Studios was you directly. You have a very good pedigree in the industry. You've been around with a lot of licenses and a lot of, rather large IPs that you've worked with and everything, and bringing that expertise to a company that's kind of on that cusp of, becoming more than what they already are in the retail space. That's a really good looking thing, right? And while the current games are very, very good, there's a lot more still to come, both from the gaming side and from the puzzle side of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for saying that. And, I would say that I've done well enough to be choosy on who I want to work with, and that the talent that this crew has is really undeniable in my opinion. They just put together good product. And so if I can help communicate what's going to be good for selling right now and what store owners are telling me they want to see, and then I'm going to champion that really hard.
That's awesome.
That's my purpose.
Derek has a good question, and this may be something that you're working on, or it may be something that exists. Does 3rd World have any online source for digital marketing assets that retailers can use? Anything that has to do with like pre-made social media graphics or logos or anything like that, or even a retailer resource page?
Not yet, but I'll go ahead and put that into play. We do have a lot of great graphics made for this, so I can drop that in. And anyone who wants to follow up, but I don't know if you throw contact out there, but I'm just
Yeah.
Nate C. Murray at Twitter, or Nate C. Murray at Gmail. And Derek or anyone else, I can pass along some great graphics even today.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll put that into chat just so people can get a hold of you through that way. Trevor asked a question, and this is more so for our side than your side, Nate. You said, I see that GTS has orders due on 10/2. Would you know the case count would be? So yeah, we did have orders due on 10/2. There's a lot of times with situations with new partners where we set an order due date way in advance of getting an actual order and a PO to Nate or to the company. We're actually sending POs this week, so you're more than welcome to still place orders for this week. That's not a problem. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm talking as of November 4th. So by November 5th, November 6th, we're going to be placing orders. So that's not a problem. The other thing too to note, which is good, is that the order due dates on our website tend to generally be, we're trying to get our first initial orders in, I guess is the way to say it. It's not a case of if you, for any product, whether it's this or any, that if you're trying to order after that due date, that there's going to be issues with placing an order. You can still place an order. Sometimes things are, guaranteed by a certain date, and they're all very unique. So it's definitely best to, get with your GTS sales rep and talk with them about it and make sure that everything is okay. But, for something like this, that's a brand new release that is for the first time coming through, both just with us in general, but in distribution overall, it's pretty straightforward. So if you guys want to get orders in today or tomorrow or even Friday, even next week, that's totally fine, right? This is not a one and done type purchase or anything like that. It's a planned long relationship. So, while we'll be placing the orders for the first wave right now, demand goes up for next week or the week after, we're pretty agile and we operate pretty quick. We're one of the few companies, I think, that will actually restock like immediately, meaning that if something is out, we don't wait on a certain cycle or a certain time frame to do stuff like that. So that's always it's always a nice advantage for everything. So long story short, Trevor, if you do have orders, by all means, feel free to put them in. Case count wise, that one I don't know off the top of my head. Do you know that one, Nate, off the top of your head for each one? I want to say there's 6 or 8, but I can't remember off the top.
Yeah, I was trying to pull that up from our warehouse, and maybe I'll follow up with a note, but I believe it's a 6 count.
Yeah, I'm 99% sure they were 6 when we set them up in the system. So worst case scenario, they would be 8, Trevor, but it looks more like 6. So Derek says, I missed the first few minutes of webinar, so if this is already mentioned, I apologize. Is there any collectability to the game, and are there any playthrough or how to play videos online?
It is an expandable card game, so not a CCG. There is, you have, along with the base game, there is the Ferris in the Land expansion currently available to order. And that adds 3 more villain characters to the game and a couple more decks. Again, as you start the game, you choose the villain you want to battle, her henchman, and then a couple decks for the forest card. So expandable card game, not collectible. As far as a playthrough, again, it sounds like I should be doing a little follow-up. Apologies to all of you. My first one of these, and it's early in the morning after a wild night for the country.
Did anything
So
happen last night? I didn't pay attention.
actually, I think no. So that's good.
Yeah.
But certainly I would love to follow up with any retailers and get information to you and to them. So I'll pass
Yeah,
that
and
along. I
anything
do
like that
believe we do
you
have a
have,
how to play video
obviously
somewhere.
we'll connect that up with the product pages, but anything that you have from the webinar here that you want to share, let me know, and I can include it in
Sure.
the YouTube description as well.
The game is also on Tabletop Simulator. I don't know if that's helpful to retailers out there. I know that I struggle in the world with that software. It certainly feels built more for physics than for good gameplay. But if you want to see the cards up close and go through a deck on your own, I do think it's great for something like that.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually talked to a retailer who is using Tabletop Simulator in his store on a PC that he's got, where he just uses it as kind of like a showcase, right? Just
Yeah.
see the game or just get a visual idea of the optics of the game for everything. He doesn't actually have it set up to where they're like playing the game or anyone is in the store plays the game. It's just more of like a digital marketable asset, I guess is the way to say it. So
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to use it. Really, for getting the components in your hand and looking through them. Again, not to disparage it's wonderful they made that software. I just think I show my age in the fact that I'm not very good with it. And I miss card games, but I do think it's a great way to get in there, like you're saying, and have it displayed out. The setup looks really great. The grid loads in and all that. You can kind of browse around, so it's a great resource.
So this is a good question. Just came on my Facebook thing here. For demos, if somebody wanted to get a demo of the base game, I know we don't have demos set up in our system for you guys yet. Is that something they can contact you on directly, or do you have a program for that already? Or
We don't, but this is the kind of thing that I'm coming on board for. So this is, as we build out our 2021 plan, I'd love to hear any suggestions like that. And I know that demo programs have been something I've always been a part of and always championed. So
okay.
if that's something people want, I'd love to hear more about that. Again, Nate C. Murray at Gmail. It would be late to get a demo program flushed out. I don't want to half-ass a demo program. Like I want to work well for it, but for other products, we should do it. And for this, I think you're right. And I'll find that how to play a video and at least support in what way I can on this launch.
Awesome. So in terms of the puzzles, which is some of the stuff that we
Absolutely.
were also very excited about, is there anything that you can share with the retailers that doesn't get you in trouble?
Sure, I can. And so, I don't know if retailers have been hearing this from other publishers. I know who I work with. We've been having a little trouble with China in general on manufacturing timelines and like what's been true. But if I can just can I drop a little image in the chat here? Would
You
that,
can, or if you have an image on your screen, you can just share your screen and do it that way, either one.
I can just
And you
share my
should have
screen.
at the bottom of your video thing, there's a little green button that says share screen, and you can share a specific program or picture.
Sure. So as far as the puzzles, this is I'm just loading an image here, but let's see if we can share here. So, I like everyone have been adopting new hobbies as my life is very different now. And one of those has been puzzles. And so that's led to this little imprint here. Personally, I'm an art snob. My background is working with really excellent artists. I've been very spoiled in my career. And so in doing the puzzles that were coming into my house, there were a lot of kind of washed out colors was my biggest complaint. Not as much the subject matter, but just the color palette of the really pastel-y, it gets kind of dull. So I went out to a lot of pop artists and kind of cultivated a very different look for puzzles, taking into account the people in my life who were saying different things about how repetitive an image should be, how complicated they wanted things. And then for me, I really wanted to see the color pop. And so I think we've accomplished all that here. So we have one puzzle a month coming, landing in December and then moving from there. And I'll make sure that you have the paperwork for these after this. but it's all this very pop style of art that has these nice, busy, pleasing patterns that give people a lot to do. And then we went really high quality. Magia, who you know from board game printing, is actually doing the puzzles here. They did a nice coating on both the front and the back of the pieces.
Yep.
So the snap is good. Apparently puzzle people, that was the big thing when I went out and did any research on puzzles. People said the pieces have to snap when you put them together. They don't want that mealy kind of low grade cardboard. And, you know, we all know this from gaming too, that really kind of soft 2 mil cardboard that even when you squeeze a chip in your hand, your money like fades off. So we had to go nice on that. There's a nice linen finish on the box so that when you are doing your puzzle and you have your table light on it, it doesn't glare in your face. So I think it's a line that's had a lot of choices made from someone who is, you know, an expert in the industry and understands what people want to see on the table. This was a much slower process to put this together than just grabbing a few pieces of art and anything and turning it into punched cardboard. Like every choice that was made here was very deliberate, and we're really proud of that. So once a month these will be coming out, 1,000 piece 18 by 24, and just a great finish, and we're really excited for you to see those.
Yeah, it's pretty important stuff when you think about it, because this year puzzles had a huge boom, and I think if we go back 12 months in time and had a sit down conversation at Essen and somebody said, oh, I think puzzles are going to be huge in 2020, I think everybody would have laughed. But obviously with coronavirus and COVID and lockdowns and things like that, it's kind of changed how everyone kind of approaches their hobbies. But we've seen a lot of people kind of knee-jerk react to that, and there have been some publishers who have made puzzles that on the surface look great, but maybe aren't very that good once you get the box lid open and get digging into them. So the things that you talked about silly little things that you probably wouldn't think about on a natural basis, but just not having a glare on the front of the box, right, as you're doing puzzles, and being able to see the pictures clearly as to what you're trying to piece together, and have pieces that don't brittly break apart in your hand, or too soft and get squished or anything like that. Those are important decisions.
Yeah, this has been a fun little exercise in that you don't want pieces too small, too big. You don't want all the same die cut. So it's a lot more back and forth. But I have, I have seen those quick plays of people just grabbing a piece of art and pulling it through and calling it a puzzle now. And it just, I don't know,
It's not
puzzle
that
people.
easy.
No, yeah, puzzle people want a pretty specific experience from what we've seen. So I think that this gives it to them in a better way. And just the linen finish on the box is such a quality of life upgrade that for that alone, I think people will be
Yeah.
coming down the line.
So Derek, you had mentioned in chat, I hope GTS will carry these puzzles. Yes, we will be carrying the puzzles. That's one of the big reasons that we partnered with Third World Studios, because we've seen that be a very positive thing for retailers, and we want to be able to offer more opportunities for you guys to get products that you may normally not know about or may normally not see. And obviously it's a really dynamic marketplace right now, so we want to make sure to get them out there for everybody. Derek also had a really good question here. He said some of the pictures on BGG show some cards for Charmed and Dangerous to be foil. If so, does the buyer know which foils they get in the SKU? Is there any randomness to it, or are they completely separate? Like, was the foil something just for Kickstarter? Or anything?
Yeah, the foil were one-off promos.
Okay.
If somebody wants a foil, I'll find some in the warehouse though, because I think this art with the foils does look spectacular. So
There you go. So NancyMurray@gmail.com for foils.
NancyMurray@gmail.com. I'll follow up with the warehouse, and I would love to get, if that's a promo piece I can help your store out with, I'd love to do that. That'd be a great way to meet you.
Awesome.
So yeah, I mean the foils for this art are really fun.
Yeah, especially when the artwork is that colorful and that creative and different, right? It's not. Yeah. It's one of those things that the game feels familiar, but it feels very unique and different on its own, right? It's that committed setting that So
yeah, absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah, that's I think that's the general vibe. Exactly what you're saying. It's familiar with a twist. The gameplay is in no means a completely bizarre new engine. It's a pleasing turn order of, you're an adventurer going on an encounter essentially. So it just with a little twist in the flair and all that.
It's funny because so I have 3 kids. I have a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old son, and I have a 26-year-old daughter. And my daughter is very, very big into gaming. She loves it. And I showed her the game and I said, hey, check this out. This is actually a really unique kind of take on, different princesses and different fairy tales that we know. The very first thing out of her mouth, she goes, where was that when I was a kid? And
Right.
I was like, yeah, right. She goes, when I was a kid, it was a bunch of, dudes in giant armor fighting orcs in giant armor. Like if I had had that, that would have been awesome. So it was very neat to get her perspective as a female gamer and get that immediate reaction of, man, I've wanted that for a while, which was really cool.
That's great. That's great to hear.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Nate, I really appreciate the time, man. I'm really looking forward to working with you and the company and obviously getting these first two titles out and then, looking ahead into 2021 with more stuff. As Nate mentioned, retailers, if you do have questions or if you have anything you want to follow up on, definitely feel free. You can reach out to Nate directly. You can reach out to me, of course, here at GTS. You can always contact your GTS sales rep. Any of those is totally okay. In the short term, though, just to remind everybody, we are placing orders. Today is November 4th. We're going to be placing orders roughly tomorrow or by Friday at the latest with Nate for the Charmed and Dangerous line. So if you have orders for those you want to get in ahead of time, definitely feel free to let your sales rep know, or you can just place the orders online at gtsdistribution.com and we'll get that taken care of for you. Retailers, thank you very much. Very greatly appreciated. I know this week has been, I guess, controlled insanity is the way to call it for this week as it's been. So it's been kind of a crazy week. So I really do appreciate everyone taking the time to join. So Nate, if you got any follow-up questions or if you've got anything that you want me to add into the YouTube video, by all means, definitely reach out and let me know.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. Looking forward to doing way more of these as we do have a great lineup coming, and I hope to hear from some of you by email. So thank you all so much. Good to be
Awesome.
here.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great time in your stores. Take care.
Take care.